straps on, I got that heat, let's go.
What up, nation? What up, Woody? Let me get a sound check, make sure my audio is good. Should be. I don't see anything on the levels, but I just gotta ask before I proceed. Sound good. All right, thanks, Dusty, Brandon. Appreciate you guys. Line G Tech in the house. MS Gellert Entertainment. Troy David. The homie Mike West in the house. What up, B? Cipriani Tech. Thank you guys. All my members. All my mods. Tracks, another one. We are June 4th, 2023, the Sunday edition of the SMT Podcast. Rolling solo on this one. What up, South Joe? Alright, so we just did the Patreon show and the YouTube member show. So some additional content if you guys are interested in that. You can get the YouTube membership by simply clicking join next to the subscribe to my channel. Alright, so whether you're in like the Android app or you're on the web, however you're accessing the live stream, you should see that join button right next to the channel name. And you can get a subscription, and that'll give you access to all the exclusive live streams that are on the YouTube member side. If you're looking for something a little extra, you get the same perks as the members. Plus, you get some early access stuff as well. And you could do that with the Patreon support. Link in the description for the Patreon. Big shout out to the patrons. Let's see, what else is going on with the channel? Oh, if you guys want to buy us a coffee, you could do that. The coffee link in the description. And let me see if I can bring you guys in here. Let me bring me in here, actually. Let's see. Yeah, there we are. We back. What up, nation? You guys should be able to see me just fine now, I believe. Okay. I think we're golden. I see something in my eye. Okay. All right, before I get started with tonight's show, I just want to let you guys know what's going on with the channel, some of the projects that we're working on. I am currently in the beginning stages of a collaboration with another YouTube creator. Be on the lookout for content involved with that collaboration. All right, so keep it locked and keep it tuned to the SMT YouTube channel for stuff like that. Okay, what else? What else is going on with the channel? I have just activated and started making content, actually, on the T-Mobile business internet. A little bit different than what, most people are going to typically cover on, like cellular network tech channels because it's the business internet. You never know. There might be some people, who are, looking at T-Mobile for a business solution for fixed wireless access. So that content might help. And I think also what it's going to do is it's going to allow us to kind of test a different type of CPE, consumer premise equipment. The gateway is different. It's actually from Inseego. You guys probably know the T-Mobile home internet equipment with things like the trash can, which is from Nokia. They have the, what is that the black unit, man? I forget what it's called. It's not ASCII. It's a different brand. I forget what it's called, man. Man. Whatever, there's that black one, right? They got a few different CPEs, but now they got this Inseego one, which I really like. I like the brand. I like the OEM. I like the form factor of it. Obviously, I've got content to share with you guys, so expect some videos on that. The Arcadian, that's what it is. Yes, that's right. Thank you, EM Tech. It's hard to keep track of it. It almost feels like T-Mobile's like swinging all the time, right? They're always looking for, something better than the last iteration or the last edition of the hardware. I will tell you that I've never fully bought into all the CPEs that T-Mobile has used. I've always felt that they've left something to be desired, whether it was firmware problems or hardware problems. For a while, like the trash can, it was overheating. The Sagecom, yes, MS, absolutely. They're always looking for something, right? And I don't blame them because none of them have been perfect. And in my opinion, none of them have been sufficient. And I think part of that is the fact that they're looking for solutions that can scale. You need millions of units. And I think also you're looking for something cost effective. And that's probably the bottom line, right? Is they're looking for something that they can afford to roll out on a grand scale. EM Tech, I agree. I think the Verizon LV65 or whatever that thing is called, I think that's the truth. I think that's the answer with a separate antenna and gateway router situation. I think that's the way to roll, right? And it can allow you to create a much more high gain opportunity to help with the reception. So the signal quality is going to be as good as it can get. In fact, I would argue you get that thing freaking tied down to a tree somewhere in your backyard and you are golden. Run a long cable and live with the results, you know? Yeah, I agree, MTech. I think that's the answer, something like that. Okay, so that's what's coming down the pipeline. Those are some of the things we're working on. Of course, we've got more testing videos. We've got the news of the day that'll continue to come in on a regular basis. I think you guys are also going to appreciate some of the additional live streams I'll be able to do this summer. The school year just finished, so that takes all of that time, and I'm going to distribute it between content here on the channel, the live streams, some family time, some bakery time. So I'll be running myself thin again, but I'll be giving everybody a little bit more. All right. Welcome back, Troy. Oh, man, Max, I'm going to let you know, man. We'll be talking about that later. Absolutely. We will. What's up, Best Blue Tech? My brother Santiago in the house. Baby Yoder in the house. Thanks for letting people know what's going on with the community. All right, so what do we want to do first? What do we want to do first? Things that we're going to discuss tonight. Do some bakery videos? Okay, all right. Yeah, I know, Trex. I'm trying to cut some weight, man. I'm sitting a little heavy right now. Usually in, like my winter weight, I'll come in around 190 pounds. I'm still hanging around my winter weight right now. So I'm trying to get down to my summer weight, which is about $180, $175. All right, so I've been riding my bike a little bit more lately. I've been, getting back into the gym a little bit the last few days. I'll be working outside. So we're going to get right this summer, absolutely. Big shout out to Green. He broke the seal. All right, first super chat of the night. He said, do you think Pixel 8 will support the DoD on AT&T? That is the N77 3.45 gigahertz spectrum. The answer to that unequivocally is yes, it will support it. Absolutely. The spectrum has been on air for a year, so I totally think it will. I don't think there should be any issues moving forward. So the fact that the Pixel 7 generation technically offers the support for it, I think that gives it a go for the Pixel 8 generation. Appreciate you, Green. Thanks for all the support to the channel. You are one of the goats, sir. All right, what are we going to do here? What are we going to do? Let's start first story. Yeah, this one. Okay. This one is from the telecompetitor. This one kind of strings in economics and telco all into one. According to a report, telecom spending has become recession-proof. Okay, anything that involves recon analytics, Roger Entner, friend of the channel, we always cover it. A new telecom spending report from Recon Analytics says that as the U.S. experiences high inflation rates, consumers would rather reduce expenditures for electricity, heating, or car payments than home internet or mobile service. 8% of these respondents said that they are planning to cut back on home internet and mobile service expenditures as a result of the higher costs. That puts home internet and mobile service just above health insurance and housing as expenditures that consumers are unwilling to reduce due to inflationary pressures. One area where respondents are more likely to cut expenses, streaming video and audio, which represent the expenditure category that consumers are fourth most likely to reduce. In line with similar research from TiVo, which found that consumers are switching from paid video services to free streaming options. That basically means they're downgrading from the paid version to the free version. One area where respondents are more likely to cut expenses is streaming video and audio. Makes a lot of sense to me, folks. Right? So because those things are often viewed as accessory and secondary, they're very likely to cut the corners there. Research also found that there's little difference of opinion between subscribers of different internet providers. Only 7% of AT&T customers at the low end and 9% of Verizon customers at the high end are looking to reduce their spending on home internet service. Results were similar for mobile service, with only 7% of T-Mobile customers and 8% of AT&T customers looking to reduce their mobile costs. Some of the options that people are looking to are possibly looking for a new provider to get a similar plan, but maybe they could find it at a better price. Second choice is downgrading to a more affordable plan with their current provider. So you see how it's structured. People aren't going to cut off their mobile services or their home internet services. They are simply going to find options that work better for them financially. So whether that means downgrading a plan or switching carriers, they still want and need the service. It says the reluctance to cut back on home internet mobile service expenditures. Half of the customers said they were expecting to reduce spending at restaurants by eating at home more. I've heard this quite a bit. Roger says, you can't cut yourself to growth. Verizon is a cautionary tale of what happens when you cut your regional sales structure, take away the ability to build a deep and wide management bench by having a large number of P&Ls where people can learn the business. Wow, same things are happening at Telco are happening at McDonald's. Big shout out to Franco. Thank you, man, for the super chat. He said, supporting as usual. Love to be on the show one day, Sneed. Hashtag 2LiveCrew. Absolutely, man. We'll get you in on one of the panels for either the Patreon or the YouTube member segment if you want to do that. This one from Green. Another super chat. Thank you, man. Was watching your Dish video. The iPhone 14 series supports N70. Does it need to be enabled through an update? I wonder. The only thing, Green, is we need Dish to start supporting the iPhone. So in that instance, the hardware does it. It's Dish activating iPhones. And I'm talking about for Project Genesis. I'm not talking about for Boost Infinite or Boost Mobile. Okay, so that seems to be the restriction. Okay, so basically with the story, folks, is people are not going to be disconnecting home internet service. People are not going to disconnect mobile service. That day will not come. They place it right there with housing. And what else did they say beside the housing? Was it health insurance? Right? People are more likely to consolidate or reduce spending in streaming services, whether it's audio or video. It's primary for people, folks. Nobody's going to disconnect their lines. I would assume that maybe there might be a tablet line or something people might want to disconnect. There may come a day where somebody might disconnect a watch temporarily or something like that, or maybe use it on Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, get away from using it on LTE or something like that. It's gotten to the point, folks, where connectivity through mobility is so normalized, right? It's people's productivity, it's people's communication device, it's people's entertainment, it's people's main source of content creation, and their connectivity to social media, which has become really important to people, right? Whether good or bad, so I think that's why people are just unwilling to disconnect in that respect. All right, good stuff there. Good story. Big shout out to Gene and Baby Yoder, longtime supporters on the YouTube member side. All right, Boost Mobile quietly released an international eSIM option. Wow. See, this is what I was saying on the Patreon and the YouTube member stream just a few minutes ago. I did not expect Boost Mobile to be the ones to do this, an international eSIM option. All right, let's read about this and see what this is about. All right, so Best MVNO has learned that Boost Mobile is now offering an eSIM option for international travel. Boost Mobile has set up an entirely new domain, which is boostesim.com, where users can sign up for an international eSIM plan. The international eSIM plan launched in April, so it's already been a couple of months. Prices for the eSIM plans vary by country. For instance, $5 gets you 1 gig of data to use when traveling in Canada, but it's only good for 7 days. $13 will get you 3 gigs for 10 days, and then 5 gigs for 15 days for $20. Same pricing and plans apply to travel throughout Europe, where plans for Asian countries are priced higher. If you travel to Asia, Boost Mobile is going to charge you $8 for a gig of data for a week, or the data is good for a week. $23 for 3 gigs, good for 10 days of travel, and then $36 for 5 gigs, good over the course of 15 days of usage. There are various plans available for travel to the Caribbean, Latin America, Israel, South Africa, Mexico, and the United Arab Emirates. Boost Mobile International data eSIM works in 100 countries. I'm assuming you go to the website, you guys can see the channel list, and all of that stuff, or the country list. Boost Mobile's eSIM data plans don't require you to have a domestic Boost Mobile phone plan to sign up for them. All right, so that's cool. So if you're not a Boost Mobile customer, you can still partake, for the eSIM options. You don't have to be, existing. But more device support from companies like Apple, Google, Motorola, Oppo, Asus, HP are eligible in the plan because, of course, those are more your international options when it comes to OEM hardware. Tablets, phones, laptops also included. All right, so global by US Mobile. They're doing something too for international. All right, this is interesting. Asia Pacific US Mobile plan gets you 17 gigs of data in 20 different countries for $60 a year. They got a European plan, 10 gigs of data for $20, valid for 30 days. I didn't know that US Mobile did all that. That's pretty cool. I'll be honest with you guys. When I think of international data usage from a domestic company, I think of Google Fi or whatever, Google Wireless, however it's named these days. Mobile X becoming international, that would be an interesting thing. I don't know. Well, maybe this is the next frontier for prepaid and postpaid companies, right? Exploring more international options. Here's the branding, for the advertisements for the international data roaming and the eSIM situation for Boost. Best package, best offer, easy installation. They push the eSIM technology. You got that portal, right? It allows things to be really streamlined and easy. But again, your device has to support eSIM. Otherwise, you're going to be having them send you a physical SIM. What do you guys think of this? You guys like what they're doing here with eSIM and the online portal? EM Tech says, I like this. However, I just canceled my Boost Infinite after we got off the member stream. I don't know how often you travel, EM Tech, but it might be, good for some people. Gene says he's got a Pixel 7a. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that has eSIM. I think all the Google phones do now. You should be good. The physical option is good too. I think best case scenario is to have both, right? eSIM capabilities, physical SIM card spot as well. And who knows, maybe, you go to a country, you run out of that data and you need more, you can get a local SIM, and if they don't support eSIM, that you get the physical SIM card tray. Oh, man. Good stuff, good stuff. I did not know Boost was actually legitimately doing something like this. I haven't seen any advertisements or anything for it. Good stuff from Boost. Oh, man. Let me take a sip of this agua. This coffee is really good. Or, excuse me, this water is really good. I wish I was drinking coffee, actually. You know what? I wish I was drinking coffee. If you guys want to support the SMT, you want to get me a coffee, hit the real SMT Buy Me a Coffee link in the description. You'll find it there. You could support your creators directly. Buy us a coffee. Don't forget, our partner also offers great deals. If you guys are looking for an excellent wireless value, you're looking for that legendary customer care, something better than what you have right now, Mint Mobile is the company to check out. Give them a look, folks. All right, the mintmobile.com/sneed, SNEED. That link can unlock savings for you. You can check out all these different plans they got. They got an unlimited plan. They got a 20 gig plan, a 15 gig, and a 5 gig plan. And right now, exclusive to the SMT Nation, using our partner link in the description, check out this pricing that we got going on. If you use our partner link, every plan that Mint Mobile offers currently will be $15 a month. So let's say that you buy the 3-month package. $15 a month, 3 months, that's $45 for those 3 months. Your next 3 months of cellular usage, $45. Folks, I know people that pay double. They pay $90 for 1 month. You're going to get 3 months for half the price of a postpaid line, right? Whether you go to Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, whatever. If you get one line of premium data plans from them, it's going to be $90. You're going to get 3 months of service for $90. Half of that $90 for $45. Right? You can't beat that value. And that's a limited time offer only through our partner link. I'm telling you guys, it is a great value. It's a great deal. I highly recommend trying it. Even if you're going to use it as a secondary line, the deal is so good you can't lose. And of course, it's a limited time promotion, right? It's only for a certain amount of time, right? So take advantage of that deal while you can. Use our partner link, unlock those savings, and you'll be supporting the channel. All right, let's see what else we got going on. The next story. Kazi says, sound static. You guys hear static on my side? Is that right? Members, let me know if you guys hear static. Shouldn't be, but I don't think anything changed with my audio connectivity. Let me know. Just give me the green light. Let me know it's good. Oh, okay. I'm assuming it might be one of my phones I left here on the... Let's get rid of that. All right, we should be good now. We should be golden. I wonder if it was just something getting close to the cable. All right, let me know if the static is gone. It should be. I don't think anything is in the way or whatever. Blurry. Sounds good now? Okay, yeah, maybe there was like a cable that was getting too close. Okay. All right. No static now. Excellent. All right, let's proceed. Okay. Yeah, next time if there's static, just let me know and I can address it. Sometimes I forget my phone's on my desk. All right. Appreciate you guys. All right, Dish. The satellite TV biz isn't going away, according to Charlie Ergen. Oh, my God, man. Dish's network's core satellite TV business took heavy losses in the first quarter of 2023, but top execs believe the business still has a long-term role to play in the pay TV market. In fact, Dish is in the process of building a new satellite to help shore up its aging fleet. You know, this is the first time in a long time I've heard of any reinvestment into satellite operations for Dish. So this is the first time in a while. I know that most of their satellites are at least 5 years old, and I think they only run for like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10 years or something. And then, of course, they have to, they get decommissioned. They stop functioning or whatever. So speaking at the earnings call for Q1, Dish President and CEO Erik Carlson referenced that the company recently tapped Maxar to build a new broadcast video satellite called EchoStar 25 or ESXXV. The new dish-operated geostationary satellite used to deliver content across North America. And that's what it'll look like. Yay! Satellite's cool technology, but we don't need it for TV. You really don't. Not anymore. Carlson said that the satellite is under construction now. Dish expects it to launch around 2026. As our fleet continues to age, we're in a position where we need to add a satellite in order for us to continue to operate the service with appropriate backups within the later half of this decade. Dish has not launched a new broadcast satellite since EchoStar 15 in 2010. 13 years ago, folks. So apparently they're good for like 15 years or something. I have no idea. The new deal with Maxar makes it clear that Dish has no near-term plans to get out of satellite TV and cede anything to streaming services such as Sling. All right, let's scroll down to this here. Pay TV losses widen, churn rises. Okay, so besides just like the fact that we don't think, satellite dish TV is all that good in terms of a business model, it says Dish's new bird is being built as the company's pay TV business and satellite TV business in particular continues to erode. Dish lost 318,000 satellite TV subs in Q1. That widened from a year ago's loss of 228,000. Worse than the 241,000 losses expected. Dish ended the period with 7.1 million satellite TV customers. When's that going to stop, guys? When is Dish's losses in satellite TV going to end? I don't know. I think it's going to continue to be losses every quarter until they're down to like their last 2 million subscribers. The Q1 results mean that Dish's core satellite TV business is shrinking at an annual rate of 11.2%, according to Craig Moffett analyst MoffettNathanson. Sling TV, which is Dish's streaming video service, also took a hit, losing 234,000 subs in Q1, more than the 163,000 expected by analysts, widening from a year ago loss of 100,000. Dish ended the period with 2.1 million Sling TV subs. Another, I wouldn't say eroding business, but it's just too much competition in the streaming wars. Yeah, I don't know, man. Of course, all this on the heels of Dish suffering a cybersecurity incident, which led to them losing, over, 80,000 losses in the wireless side too with Boost Mobile. Moffett noted that Dish's gross additions of 113,000 in Q1 were the lowest ever recorded at the company and were 83.2% lower than they were 11 years ago. Folks, they don't grow. Gene says that Sling advertises a lot. I don't know, man. If you're advertising for a business that's losing, that seems like a bad investment. You would be better suited focusing your efforts on something more profitable and with some upside. I think one area potentially for Dish that has upside has to be their wireless operations, right? So continue to invest in that business. But we see a lot of issues in their wireless business. In fact, I would argue that Boost Mobile has been a problem since they've been the owner of it. And I'm not saying that Boost Mobile is all that great when it was owned and operated by Sprint, but under Dish, it's been horrible. It's been really bad. Kazi mentions that YouTube TV is growing. Yeah, they are a growing service, and I think what allows them to grow is the fact that they're owned by a cash cow known as Alphabet. And Google as a brand has so much money, they generate so much revenue, they can basically subsidize the TV for people. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of my take. I think Dish has to start pivoting away from TV. It just doesn't make sense. Go ahead and continue to own, operate, but does it really require reinvestment? I don't know. Maybe the reinvestment, should be managed, kept to a minimum. I just feel like if you're going to be a TV operator, there's probably a more beneficial way of doing this, a more financially responsible way of doing this. Can you do it over IP? Can you do it through partnerships? Can you do it through other services? Man, launching satellites now that aren't going to double serve a purpose doesn't really seem to make sense. Like for me, I think it makes more sense if you could somehow double dip and turn this satellite into a, cellular service operation along with TV. Now, I know there's a lot of weight limitations and space that are on the satellites and stuff, but I mean, if we're talking about the future and we're talking about unique engineering and design, I feel like that's where the innovation should be looking to. If you're launching new satellite TV satellites, what's innovative about that? What's new and fresh about that? It's not going to be any good. It's not going to be any different than what it's been. Maybe it's more cost effective than the old satellites, the old ones. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like Dish is misguided. I know. And, Kazi, you mentioned the whole Blockbuster TV thing. Dish always associates themselves as, Blockbuster and all of that. I don't know, man. I don't know. They should just focus on wireless. All right, next one. This is good stuff. Let me get a sip of water. Yeah, they got to just... What? You own Blockbuster, man? Isn't there one operational Blockbuster left? In like Oregon or something, or Washington State? That's right, Blind G Tech, 5G TV. All right, cables, Wi-Fi hotspots aren't for wholesale. Dano, light reading. Charter Communications and Comcast offer mobile customers access to millions of Wi-Fi hotspots, but the companies aren't providing those access points to other mobile operators via a wholesale model. Okay, so if I take this first statement here, Comcast and Charter Communications, which operate as Xfinity Mobile and Spectrum Mobile respectively, they get their mobile network access through Verizon on a sweetheart MVNO deal. So they use Verizon. They get Verizon network access. But Verizon doesn't get access to their hotspots, either of them, right? They keep those off limits. Nobody accesses those except their own customers. The quote here from a Comcast representative: "We don't offer wholesale access to our Wi-Fi network." Charter declined to comment. The issue surfaced thanks to the CEO of MobileX, Peter Adderton, who also has an MVNO through Verizon. He asked for wholesale access to Comcast and Charter's Wi-Fi networks, but was rebuffed. So Peter Adderton, the founder of Boost Mobile, and also founder of the newly launched MobileX, indicated on Twitter that he approached the cable companies to see if they would be willing to wholesale their Wi-Fi networks. They said no. He posed the question, should the FCC and Justice Department mandate that they provide a wholesale access to other MVNOs so we can pass cost savings to customers? They're going to push back. They do not want to do that, folks. Cable companies have positioned their public Wi-Fi networks as a competitive differentiator and therefore aren't providing access to those networks under a wholesale model. The stance is noteworthy when Verizon, T-Mobile, and other network operators are working to develop their own wholesale businesses. Comcast and Charter are wholesale customers of Verizon. They offer mobile service under an MVNO agreement with Verizon, with access to their LTE and 5G networks. Further, both Charter and Comcast provide wholesale access to their own respective wireline networks. All right, now what we're seeing in the case of the cable operators, Comcast and Charter, they've got these extensive public Wi-Fi networks, which are basically access points to people's routers and gateways, right? So like, let's say you're a customer on Comcast. Your router, your connection, which is yours, that you pay for, also serves double dips as a offload for other users who are customers. All right, it says here that Charter Spectrum Mobile customers can access the company's 500,000 out-of-home Wi-Fi access points alongside around 25 million out-of-home Wi-Fi access points from other networks, including Comcast Xfinity's Wi-Fi network. For its part, Charter has said it offloads around 87% of its Spectrum Mobile customers' traffic onto Wi-Fi, trying to keep that Verizon usage off, right, to reduce their overhead and their operating costs. Charter plans to eventually expand that offload operation onto other networks, including a 5G network in the 3.5 gigahertz frequency CBRS spectrum. The company's CEO recently said the operator's MVNO deal with Verizon is so attractive that Charter doesn't feel the need to deploy the spectrum rapidly. According to the financial analyst of MoffettNathanson, Charter enjoys significant margins thanks to its offload strategy. So basically, what they want to do is make the Wi-Fi connections so ubiquitous, so common, that most of the time, Spectrum Mobile customers, Xfinity Mobile customers, are usually on a Wi-Fi hotspot and not on Verizon. The quote from analysts: Verizon saw a $250 million increase in wireless wholesale revenues in 2022. Essentially, all that revenue is money that they're receiving from the MVNO from Charter and Comcast. Charter and Comcast over the same period grew revenue by over $800 million. That implies something like 69% margins on wireless. Would you look at that? Cable finding a way to be more profitable. Okay, so these are pretty big numbers. All right, so folks, put this in your memory bank, right? File this away. Cable is finding ways to offload usage that would have been Verizon usage, that they would be paying to Verizon, and they're making it native through their Wi-Fi hotspots to the tune of improving their margins by 69%. So they're paying Verizon $250 million. That's Charter and Comcast collectively. And they're growing their own revenue through their wireless sales by $800 million. So I think it's time we start to shift our thinking. They are quickly starting to offload a large portion of usage of their customers from Verizon to their own native Wi-Fi hotspots. And this is why they're not in a rush to deploy CBRS. So this is new information. This is information we didn't have previously. The quote from the same analyst: most people think of this business as an MVNO business with something like 10 or 15% net margins. That's just not what this business is. This is not an MVNO business. It's a hybrid MVNO MNO with much, much better margins. Yeah, this makes you feel pretty good about the margins at Big Cable with Mobile Industries. Charter added 686,000 mobile lines. 20,000 of those are small and mid-sized businesses in the first quarter. Their previous record was 615,000, so they're just growing and accelerating. They now have over 6 million mobile lines. All right, Consumer Cellular, Red Pocket Mobile, US Mobile, also MVNOs that are selling, network access as well on an MVNO standpoint. Helium Mobile, not really into that. I don't think it's something legitimate that anybody should be thinking about. Mobile X Adderton said that his MVNO will use an AI-based platform that will be used to determine how much data consumers will need and then will bill them only for what they need. The result could be a dramatic reduction in customer bills, he said. Okay, so that's something else we'll follow up on later. All that in the MVNO space. All right, so the reason why I think this article is important is because it highlights something that we've been monitoring. How legitimate is cable moving forward? How much of a threat are they to Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile? Well, it looks to me like their margins are improving to the point where we could actually say, they're profitable in it. That's pretty interesting because we didn't really view them as being profitable, right? We viewed them as having to pay Verizon for access and kind of being, slave to that pricing, which they feel good about the pricing, but the fact that they're going to be paying them less money helps their bottom line. I bet you investors at Big Cable are very happy about this news, and that should probably lead to some positive sentiment and some reinvestment into the network. You look at what they're doing with their infrastructure, the DOCSIS 4.0 upgrades, the mid-splits, all the stuff that they're sinking all that money into, and then, of course, going into new territories, going deeper into their existing territories, taking advantage of those opportunities. I've always felt like, the story about cable being in trouble, fixed wireless access obviously is taking their piece. Fixed wireless access is growing and taking away from cable. Cable denies it. So I think they're wrong there to lie through their teeth. Right? T-Mobile and Verizon are taking their share. But the mobile improvement for margins from cable is so encouraging. If I were an investor, I would feel really good about the future because it's only going to get better as they build out CBRS. And they said that they're not worried about the pace of the build out of CBRS. So that should give investors confidence if you think about it. Right? Let's see here. Last story for you guys. Let's bring this in here. Yeah. Here's the last one for today. And then we're going to wrap up the show. All right, boys and girls. Satellite news. This is unusual to make the channel, but I think it's important. EchoStar teases LEO constellation for 5G wideband services. What the hell does this mean? All right. Using a $1.7 billion war chest, satellite operator EchoStar, which I think is owned by Dish, plans to launch hundreds of additional low Earth orbit satellites, or LEO satellites, in the coming years. The company's CEO said would provide 5G wideband services. Okay, details from Hamid Akavan. hinted at them during the company's recent quarterly conference, according to Advanced Television. He said it's still in development. You should expect that in the second half of this decade, 2026, 7, 8, 9, 30, we'll have a 5G wideband service based on a new, much larger satellite constellation that we're working on. Oh, damn. He said that the offering would begin generating revenues by 2027. Okay, so 2026 for a launch, maybe? Hey, this is kind of cool. Where'd they get the money from? $1.7 billion. This is EchoStar's second LEO announcement. Early this year, the company said it would launch 28 LoRa-capable satellites to offer IoT services in 2024. EchoStar is pretty busy, folks. Financial analysts at Raymond James estimated that EchoStar would spend about $100 million to $200 million to launch LoRa constellation. The company's second 5G wideband constellation will likely cost meaningfully more than that, according to the analysts. Maybe double, maybe triple. Right, $1 billion or something. EchoStar, spun out from Dish in 2008, is one of a handful of aging satellite companies hoping for a second win from 5G. Along with Iridium, Globalstar, and others, EchoStar owns valuable S-band spectrum, that's in the 2 gigahertz range, could be integrated into terrestrial 5G networks. Akavan previously suggested that the company is eyeing the burgeoning market for phone-to-satellite connections. We're focused on it, he said. This is referred to as D2D, or direct-to-device. The iPhone 14 has it. I know that the Android operating system supports it. We're just waiting for that to become a part of everybody's handsets. All right. EchoStar presumably is hoping to offer faster services from space, given its discussion of wideband. Okay, so what does wideband mean? Everything we've heard up till now, right? When we first heard the news of Starlink and SpaceX with respect to T-Mobile and their partnership, and then also I think it's AST and AT&T. It's all been centered around call and messaging, which needs very little bandwidth, which is fine, right? It's nice to have the peace of mind that if you're out in the middle of nowhere and your carrier's towers aren't close to where your device is and you can't connect to a network, right, and that stuff's not working, you have a backup plan, right? But with 5G wideband, my impression of that word and that terminology is they're going to be offering channel depth that is going to be more substantial. So instead of it being like 5 megahertz of band 2, right, what we know as PCS frequency, maybe it's going to be 10 or 20 megahertz of a band, or maybe it's going to be even deeper than that. And they can offer true data usage. And I don't know if it's going to be tiered data. I don't know if it's going to be bucket. I don't know if it's going to be per gig. I don't know if it's going to be unlimited. I don't know any of that stuff. I'm just looking at the terminology. 5G wideband indicates that the channel depth is going to be deeper, and it's probably going to be able to support more common data usage. So what does that mean? Does that mean you'll be able to live stream in the middle of nowhere on a mountaintop? Maybe. So you're climbing Mount Everest and you get to the top and you want to record the experience and live stream it to your people. Maybe now you could do that. Maybe you are in the tropical rainforest somewhere in Costa Rica. You're at the pyramids in Egypt or something, and there's no service. EchoStar got you with the wideband 5G service. All right, now it's going to need an aggregation of frequencies. It's going to need multiple channels. It's going to need some spectrum in order to support data. And of course, it's going to be heavily managed. Right? And EchoStar can sell their services to all these different MNOs. EchoStar could have a deal with T-Mobile. EchoStar could have a deal with Verizon. They could have a deal with AT&T, right? We do see that each of them is doing something currently. I think with Verizon, it's with Amazon, with Kuiper, Keeper, whatever. AT&T's working with AST, right? T-Mobile's working with Starlink. So they have partnerships, but EchoStar is going to jump in and basically say, hey, worldwide, which carriers want in? And, the rates could be very profitable for them. Okay, if you're going to own and operate a LEO constellation made up of hundreds or thousands of satellites, you're going to have to get a return, ROIC. They're going to want some good money back on that investment. I think this is a great potential technology. I think this is going to be really cool. In fact, the fact that it's on our radar for 2026 means we're just a couple of years away, right? In 2024, we're going to get an update on this. In 2025, we're going to get another update on this. And then we might get a launch in 26. Even if it's delayed, expect a launch no later than 2027. This is going to be really cool. Now, this is more exciting than what T-Mobile announced with Starlink because this actually has data usage involved, right? 5G wideband service indicates that it's going to be a legitimate data experience and not just calling and texting for your basic connectivity in the case of an emergency, which is what I get from the other, announcements that we've seen. It's really about just worst case scenario. It's an emergency situation. You just need to connect for help. This is like a legitimate use of your IoTs, your personal mobile devices like your smartphone, your iPhone or whatever. And, they can make it global with respect to open it up to all carriers across the country, any carrier across any country, South America, North America, Central America. They could do Africa, Europe, Asia. Hell, you get a signal in Antarctica if you were there. I don't know why you'd be there, but, technically you could. John asks, you would be able to text or send a social media message? Absolutely. I mean, I get the impression based on 5G wideband, you're basically using this like you would normally use your phone. You see what I'm saying? This is much more exciting than the announcement with Starlink. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to poo-poo on T-Mobile. I know a lot of people say I'm a T-Mobile hater, blah, blah, blah. And I'm whatever. This is a much bigger announcement. This is a much bigger piece of news for the common smartphone user because this would legitimately allow you to continue to use your phone as you normally would. So like you said, John, the social media posting, the live streams, watching HBO Max while you're on a trail in the middle of nowhere. You're out in the boonies. You're in a forest in Canada. I don't know. This is especially important, I think, when people go on trips to random places where the tower grid just doesn't exist. And who knows? Maybe this does something for people that live, out on a hillside somewhere, where the cell service is weak and they just want a little bit of extra connectivity, peace of mind or something. But like I said, I think this is much more important and tangible as a technology advancement where it's going to be more meaningful to people how we use our phones today. Being able to offer calling and texting is cool. It's nice. It's a nice little thing. But this is bigger than that. It's obviously going to be more expensive, right? This is going to be a full cost service. This is not going to be cheap. There's going to be a much larger investment in this than, say, for example, just trying to accomplish call and texting. So this is pretty cool. Put this on your radar. We'll check this out. I'm sure we'll get updates on it in the coming year, probably the next couple of years, and then we'll see a launch, shortly thereafter. John asks, if that was released, whoever carrier has it first would take everyone's customers. But the thing is that EchoStar service might not be important to 99% of people. It might be only niche. That's why I think it's important that it's a global service and not just exclusive to one carrier. Making this exclusive to one carrier makes no sense. This should be an open invite to all carriers across the globe that could utilize the service. AT&T owns satellites of their own, so who would buy into the new EchoStar program? Like I said, I think it's more international, B. I think that's probably where this is at. Maybe because Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile already have partnerships, it doesn't involve them. But for international companies, I think it's probably the look. You know what I mean? All right. Good show, guys. Thank you for all the super chats this evening. Thank you to everybody in the live chat for discussing and, kind of interacting with the content and interacting with each other. Appreciate it very much. Everybody who, is supported the channel with likes and shares, and everybody who has bought me coffee, supported with super chats and donos. Thank you guys all for what you do. If it's your first time here and you got recommended this live stream and you like the content and you want more, consider subscribing. You can check our channel memberships. You can hit the join button. It's right next to the channel name, and get some perks and extra access. You can also check us out on Patreon. Link in the description. You can get all types of early access stuff, perks, benefits, add-ons, and things you wouldn't normally get on the YouTube side. Hit me with your favorite hashtag, folks. Hashtag Mod Squad for all my blue wrenches. Hashtag 2 Crew for everybody watching this in the live. Hashtag Replay Crew if you're watching this on replay. Right? And hashtag Ravioli Gang for those of you eating dinner or snacking. Oh, God, we're getting the hashtag BBW. Thanks, Gene. Appreciate it. Thanks, B. Appreciate you guys. Hashtag Save the Bear. Big shout out to all the YouTube members and patrons for making content on this channel possible. Y'all the goats. And we out this piece. And if you stayed this long, I know why. You stayed for this. Yeah!